What's up, everybody? Welcome to List Perfectly Reseller Tips. Very excited today. I'm here. Teresa's here. She's there. She is. I can see Theresa backstage. I don't know. I was worried she left. She's being a prankster today, but she's excited about some cool stuff. But it's TnD today. T, as we call her, T Money, the lady of many names, 20-something year eBay seller. Um, Trish can't make it today, but that's fine. We will probably get by,
We'll do
and
our best.
we'll do our best, ladies and gentlemen. So as always, welcome. Please give us the thumbs up, the like, comments, shares, ask your questions. Pam's here. Restated Threads, Luxury on a Dime. What's up, Desiree? Kim's here. More people will be coming in, but we're going to talk about hiring help and outsourcing tasks for online sellers and resellers. Yay. And this is something that Theresa herself has done and has done for 10 something years, right?
Yep. I hired people before that, but I hired my very well-known minion, aka Nicole, 10 years ago on her 12th birthday, paid her $3.50 an hour. And ladies and gentlemen, she stuck around for 10 years.
She stuck around for 10 years. So I want to ask, so did you coin the Minion thing before the Minions movies, or is that where you got it from?
No, it's definitely where I got it from, but it is absolutely a term of endearment. And I cannot tell you, because I use it a lot. I mean, in our community, my minion, and I have several minions. Nicole is the OG minion, but I can't tell you how many times in different Facebook groups where we get in a discussion and people talk about how rude that is, or because if you look up the meaning of a minion, it is not a term of endearment. So if I'm talking about my minions in a new group, I say, my helpers, I affectionately call them my minion. And I actually reached out to them after one of this long Facebook discussions several years ago. And they all said, no, we like being called a minion. Like it's a great nickname type thing. So nobody was taking offense of it except for these people that had no clue what we were talking about. So.
Oh, yeah, I understand that. Kathy says, hey all, I'm excited about this topic because I'm in the place where I need help to get to the next step in my business. That can definitely help. But I'm glad Kathy's here because she was on the Snoop Dougie show earlier today where we talked about ghosts, and her son Christopher makes scary movies, and she sent me some clips and they were super cool. So I was very impressed. Thanks for sharing those, Kathy, but just wanted to let you know that I watched them and I'll watch some more, but his stuff was super cool. It's a term of endearment, especially from Theresa.
Jill knows if I call you my minion, it's a term of endearment.
So I have some stuff I want to run by everybody. Bounce off Theresa because she's the millennial expert.
I am not a millennial. You stop right there, young man.
Shut your mouth. So it's interesting though, because you can, depending upon your situation, you can have somebody in person like Theresa's done for 10 years. You can have virtual minions. You can have, you can find virtual minions in, even in listing party, right?
Yep.
And just
And
go.
this community has actually sort of helped people out. We have some people that, well, one of my minions assistants, VAs, lives in the States. She is active on listing parties and such, and she is a VA for other people now. But she was an eBay seller or an online seller, and I believe her story is that she had to give up a bedroom for a child, so she didn't have any place to store her stuff, but she still wanted to stay in the business, so she became a VA.
Okay.
And she's been my VA, so she does some listings, she does some cross posting for me. Kind of morphed over the years. I'll probably have her do a lot more work this summer than just cross posting, just because Nicole is gone. So we'll get into this a little bit later, but you got to figure out the holes you have and find people to plug those holes.
Yeah. So basically identifying the stuff the stuff that can be outsourced, and I think too the stuff that you want to let go of to a degree, right? Is that
Yeah,
difficult for you?
exactly. Find the tasks that you don't like to do and find somebody else to do them for you.
Was that difficult for you initially to let go of that stuff or no?
Surprisingly, no. I am not a control freak. I'm not an OCD person. I don't have any of those good characteristics in a person. So it wasn't, and keep in mind that when I was working with Nicole, she was 12. And then there's another young woman that I was working with at the time. She was 15. And they were just learning. So they were learning how I taught them. My favorite thing was, to have them use all 80 characters in eBay. At the time, I was only listing at eBay. So I would get a bowl of M&Ms, and anytime somebody was able to create a title and use all 80 characters, they got 5 M&Ms. And
Okay.
if you got 79, you got 2 M&Ms. So I really think that for whatever reason that helped, because Nicole still writes great titles.
That's good. That's cool. That's cool.
So buy your minions a bag of M&Ms and treat and reward them for getting 80 characters.
And yeah, that's true. So give them a little bit of a test. So question, does Theresa pay her minions in bananas?
No, but Nicole will tell you I have great snacks in the warehouse.
Nice, nice.
We have
Chanel,
eaten through a freezer full of ice
there you
cream this summer.
M&Ms, obviously.
Actually, not well. Yeah, we did have M&Ms. Her favorite treat are I don't have kids, so I don't think of those. The little Welch's fruit snacks.
Okay.
We have fruit snacks. We have chips. We have those whatever. I just go to Costco and I go to Sam's Club and I just buy whatever.
There you go. There you go.
Jelly beans. Okay, that's good. Jelly beans works too.
Hey, Chanel, nice to see you again. Chanel sat in on the Snoop Dougie show, so she's all ghosted out, so she came here.
And she was in on Listing 101.
All right.
There we go.
All over today. So I want to show real quick because I just did it to test. So if you're looking so obviously you can try Fiverr, you can try, all kinds of different. Oh, look at this. T is such a good boss.
I don't like my boss. Sometimes she's just a little moody for me.
So if you're in Listing Party, go here, and we're going to do that, ladies and gentlemen, a live, as they say, live demo. Let's see. All right, so here I am, and I'm here, and let's say I'm like, I need an assistant. Snoop Dougie needs an assistant to list his stuff. DAS Content Media needs an assistant to list their stuff. So I'm searching for an assistant. I go here, apply, and look at this wealth of people interested in helping you list. And so the interesting thing is, if you want to list perfectly and you want to use that multi-user account where you give them access, there's a whole list of people here that will be, or should be vested or used to using List Perfectly, and then can help you with that. So,
and here's the perk about having this directory. You have to be a List Perfectly subscriber to get to Listing Party. So anybody in this directory has a List Perfectly account, should therefore know how to use List Perfectly. That is a huge part of the training process that you get to skip.
Exactly. And yeah, so I know you always say it, but we love it, and this is T's baby, Listing Party. So if you're not in there, get in there. It's super easy to connect. Just go to listingparty.com.
Yeah, Listing Party is a great thing, but it's definitely built a great community.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's growing. There's more cool stuff coming all the time. Here's a good question while I recover our screens. In LP Pro, how many sub accounts do we have? Do you know?
I believe it is just one at the time.
Okay.
But let me, I'm pretty sure it's one.
But I think Pro Plus, you get more, right?
Pro and Pro Plus are the same right now for subs. I know there's been talk about more, but I'm not sure where we're at.
And check those. Speaking of more, check those notifications this week because there's some new release stuff coming out, and a couple cool updates coming by the end of the week.
One that I'd hoped that we were going to get to before this airing, but we'll hint around it. We'll talk about it, but we can't say anything about it yet.
Theresa made me promise not to say anything, so I'm not saying anything, but it's super cool.
It is very, very super cool. And it works so much in with this topic with hiring help. And I mean, I say this all the time that with some of the features that List Perfectly has built in, you can get away with, I wouldn't do away with an assistant or a VA, but you can absolutely get so much more done. I said, Nicole, I've been on parties or whatever, and I've counted up how many listings Nicole has done in a day. And she takes the pictures, she creates the listings, and she cross-posts to eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, and if applicable, Etsy. And she can do something. Some days she gets 30 done. Sometimes one day she got 62 done.
Wow.
And she's here for 7 hours. But here's the thing. Why is that possible? Well, she knows what she's doing. She's been doing this for a long time. That absolutely helps. She has a system down. But she's using Google image search that's integrated. Because some of this stuff she doesn't know what it is.
Yeah.
She's using that integration. She's pulling titles. She's looking at some price things. She priced a pair of pants at $549. I said, where the heck did you get that price from? She's like, Google Images. So it's not perfect, but she gets, and guess what? Those pants are listed on every platform for $549 because I haven't changed it yet. I'm in no hurry because if somebody wants to buy them for $549, I'm happy to let them buy them.
Right buyer.
I absolutely know that that's not the price. So, so because of all these integration tools, it just makes the listing process so much faster. Oh, and the other one is that we have Listing Assistant. So she will scan the UPC code if it has a UPC code, or she will type in 40 characters into the title and let List Perfectly do the rest.
Yeah, and it uses AI to generate that. And everybody's using AI a ton right now. And obviously, you should always check what you have AI do for you.
Review everything.
I had something, what was it? Oh, so I did, and it might have been my fault, but I did listed something or put a draft in LP, and it was a book on parapsychology. And it came up as parasitology. So
different.
Very, very different kinds of parasites. Very different kinds of parasites. So we kind of talked a little bit about finding the right talent. So obviously there's the community, there are the Facebook groups across the board if you need help with your listing or whatever you want to do, whatever you decide to farm out, whether it's just your images. My son pretty much refuses to help right now, even though I would pay him pretty well. But he used to do my drafts in LP with via mobile. He would take the picture, do the basic title, and then he even did a little bit of price research, which he was a little iffy on that, but he did an okay job with the images. But with Listing Assistant now, he could be making bank. But what are you going to do?
It's hard to get your kids to help in this because they just think, they roll their eyes and think, oh, it's just that eBay thing my dad does. I get that.
Yeah.
The reason Nicole works so well for me because she's not my child.
I guess so. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, dad's so uncool. eBay's so uncool. No, but for a little bit, they liked all the eBay swag they used to get. And then it was like, hey, kids, I got 50 more, not 50, but got a bunch more eBay shirts. So, but think about, so yeah, if you're looking or, how did you connect with your minion? Was it through church or through friends?
No, Nicole's dad and my brother were high school besties.
Okay, there you go.
So, I have known Nicole literally all of her life.
All right, cool. But that's just another connection. Friends, kids, that could even be friends. Real quick, go ahead.
I have hired other people. So the 15-year-old that kind of came on the same time as Nicole, my hairdresser's daughter, and I'm trying to think of who else. I've had several people reach out to me this summer asking me if they have kids, 13, 15, whatever. And so I'm just going to jump in here. So, because I made a decision this summer not to replace Nicole. So Nicole has gone off. She's going to be a camp counselor for church. She went, actually, I think she starts her training today, and she will be gone through the middle of August. And she said, I have somebody that I think can do it, blah, blah, blah. I'll bring you in a trainer. She did statement of processes. She updated some files and stuff. And I really thought long and hard about it because I knew Nicole comes in, we chat, she goes out in the warehouse, she does her things. I check on her on and off the day, but she doesn't need me.
Yeah.
And I was really reserved about going forward or not going forward with this idea because I knew it would require a lot of my time. And I didn't know if I had that time. And so I talked to a couple of reseller friends, and basically they convinced me to, well, we kind of came to the same conclusion, that it would be better for me not to have someone and to focus on me doing some listings, because I'm certainly not going to get 60 of them done a day. Yeah. And me doing the shipping, which I do most of it anyway. But I'm going to spend the summer trying to get house projects done so I can actually get moved into my house, because I've been here like 10 months and I'm still not moved in.
Yeah.
And so that's where I decided I was going to focus my energy on this summer. Now, it is definitely, what's the upside about having somebody you work for? Nicole absolutely keeps me accountable. I don't care if it's 10 o'clock at night and I'm dead tired and I want to go to bed. I know that there's something that I may have to get ready so that Nicole can come in and do her job tomorrow morning. If Nicole wasn't coming in to do her job tomorrow morning, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to bed. I can deal with that tomorrow. I do that 100 times a day.
Yeah.
So that's one other thing that I think that's a benefit of having some outside help come in that we don't necessarily take into consideration and calculate. I am way more productive when Nicole is here.
Yeah.
Because she keeps me accountable.
It's like a workout buddy.
I wouldn't know what that is. Last time I worked out was when I was playing softball in college. I don't do that stuff.
So, and if you didn't know, I mean, I joke with Theresa that it's, like her evil seller layer, but she's got this house she's moved into, and she's got the double-decker RV garage, I guess you'd say, that she's converted into like basically a warehouse, right?
Yes. So I bought a house specifically for the 2 garages. By the way, I hate the house. I love the garages. And so an hour after escrow closed, we started putting holes in the walls and adding stuff. So yeah, it's still not done, but it's a great workspace.
Yeah, there you go. And real quick, welcome back, Tommy in Seattle. It's been a bit. Welcome back. He does have a question for Theresa. With you not listing as much as her, your minion, doesn't that mean you won't be bringing in as much money and also not able to spend time doing other things?
So yes, so Nicole absolutely does enough I have other sources of income as well. And so I do all the listing and selling on the stuff that I do on Amazon. So that I do keep busy with that. Nicole definitely lists and sells the stuff that I sell on the platforms, absolutely pays her salary and more than pays her salary. So that's good. And I tell people, so this is my little, let me get on my soapbox for a minute, because I was at a point where I was like, oh, I don't know if I can, I just have to do it all. I don't have any money, I can't afford to hire somebody. We're all in that situation at one time or other. And many of us are in that situation now. But I took a leap. Nicole graduated high school in 2019. And she came to me and said, could she work enough over the summer to earn $1,000 for spending money to go to college?
Okay.
And I said, I kind of did math like, I don't know. I don't know if I can afford to do this, but I decided to, because it's Nicole and I would do anything for that girl. And I said, you know what? Here's the thing. I don't have to pay her out of my reseller money pot. I can pay her out of this pot of money. Like, I don't care. Yes, Nicole, let's make sure that you work so you can go with $1,000. And she worked on and off during the summer, and she ended up with like $1,100 or $1,200. And I started tracking the stuff that was selling after she was gone. And I don't remember the exact numbers now, but I remember it took 6 weeks for me to make up that $1,100, $1,200. And I had only sold 7% of the items that she listed.
Oh, wow.
And that was the statistic I needed to say, never pass up help when they are here to help you.
There you go.
Which was the biggest deciding factor of me deciding, was I going to use this new person or not? Because I have in my head, never pass up help when somebody is here to help you. Because they may not have the time when you're ready. So these are all the things that, were going through my head when I was trying to make this decision. So, and I wasn't, $1,000 over the summer. So that wasn't a lot of money per week.
There you go.
Just something to consider. And to me, it is, if you use your help effectively, which, this is 10 years in the process, in the making.
Yeah.
Then they absolutely pay for themselves tenfold.
Okay. Here's a great question, and then I want to get into something else. How would you recommend to pay, hourly or per item?
So I've always paid per item. I think per item is great, especially if somebody's off-site. My listings and my cross postings are all per item. Nicole was being paid per item to photograph and to list before she left for 18 months to go on a mission. And at that time, she was working at the Airbnb. I was at home with my mom, and I paid her. She'd say me how many items she listed, and I pay her. And then she went off, and then I started shipping items that she had listed. And I realized that she had spent a lot of time and effort wrapping fragile things in bubble wrap, taping it, labeling it, all this stuff. And I was paying her $1, $1.50, I don't remember, to photograph, and not taking any of that into consideration.
Yeah.
So then I was like, wow, this kid, and she never said anything to me. So when I made her the offer to come back, I wanted her to come back. So I gave her, and I wanted her to do more than just listing and photographing. So I paid her a flat salary, an hourly rate, I'm sorry. And then it was just easy. She just did whatever she wanted to do, whatever I needed done. So.
Awesome. So let me ask you this, though. Theresa Cox, numbers geek, loves numbers, talked about, analyzing some of the numbers earlier, some of the stats. Did you ever have any like minimum performance indicators or minimum number of things that she should list, or any goals to hit and measure, anything by that?
No, because I don't think so. My big selling point to hire, and I think this is a good selling point to hire anybody, is I would pay them a flat rate, $10 an hour or whatever. This is years ago, to learn, because you can't pay them 50 cents an item or $1 an item when they're learning, because they're going to make $3 an hour. So in the training process, you pay them a flat rate. Then you show them, this is how many people can get cross post. This is how many listings my VA gets done now in an hour. And that translates to $36 an hour if you can get this done. I did have a college student that was helping me out at one point, where they only had a couple of hours each week in between studying.
Okay.
But she was able to make about $35 an hour in those 2 or 3 hours of work. And she loved that, because she didn't have to go work in a fast food restaurant. She could be sitting in her bed in her pajamas, and she was making enough money, making $150 a week doing VA work for me. That's all that she needed. So I think that, college student was somebody, a friend from church, knew somebody that needed a job. And I said, okay. And it was just that easy. So.
Interesting. Okay. And so let's say you find somebody. Well, first of all, they don't need to be necessarily, it helps if they've sold online before, but not to do a plug. But especially if you're using List Perfectly, it makes it easier for them to, to be able to cross post, set a procedure, things like that. But what recommendations do you have overall if for somebody that's looking for somebody to help them out?
So this is not rocket science, people. I don't care what you think. I've had 7-year-olds taking pictures for me. A 7-year-old knows how to use the camera on a phone. And so with very, very minimal instructions, you can do up a piece of paper that says, this is what the first picture looks like for a shirt. This is what the second picture looks like. This is how you want your shoes. And a 7-year-old can follow pictures and say, okay, I need to put this shoe this way and this shoe this way and take a picture. And so talent is everywhere. I personally do not like to hire photographers that do it for a profession, like a product photographer or a wedding photographer, because to me, they are too picky.
Yeah.
They know the stuff way too well. I want point, shoot, focus, point, shoot, focus, maybe not in that order. Point, focus, shoot, point, focus, shoot, and be done with it. I don't need somebody to make, adjusting my lights. Like we're not selling, a $2 million diamond. We're selling $15 used shirts, people.
All right. Yeah. I used to know a guy who was the head photographer for, I don't know, Crate and Barrel, something like that. And they would do these crazy elaborate shoots for things. And, just point and click and remove the background. So, any like formal reviews along the way or touch bases where it's like, here's what you can do better. Here's what,
Yeah, and I've had people reach out to me where they say, I'm using this VA and I have, I'm having this issue. And I'm like, communication is key. And I get it. I have been a supervisor almost my entire adult life in my 9-to-5 career. So, talking to people wasn't an issue to me. But if you've never been in that position, it's scary. You don't know what to say. And so for those people, I say, look, if I come to work for you and I'm taking pictures, I want to know if I'm not taking them right. I don't want to spend 3 days and take crappy pictures. Yeah. So if you see that I'm not taking pictures, please tell me as soon as you notice it. Hey, on these pictures, I really like what you did here, but can you just maybe make sure that the angle is a little different and explain why you want that? And it clicks for them and they understand. But for me, so communication is absolutely, don't be afraid. Nobody wants to come to work and do a job wrong or do it subpar. Nobody's doing that on purpose. So they just need some more direction and guidance. And I do. Nicole will list directly into List Perfectly catalog. I'll pull it up. Sometimes I'll say, hey, that one over there, can you get a better picture of the tag, or can you something, whatever. And she's like, yeah, because I'd rather do that before the item is in the box and upstairs than me having to go pull the item or her having to go pull the item and retake the picture later.
Okay. Tommy makes a good point regarding photography. Make my $15 shirt look like a $15K shirt, or like Theresa's $600 pair of jeans that are.
That's a very good point, Tommy. But yeah, you want it to make it look like a $50 shirt. So, but I think that with a phone today, there ain't a whole lot you have to do.
Yeah, it's easier than it used to be way back.
Way easier than it used to be.
And that's the thing too, is like things like contracts and agreements, non-disclosure agreements. If you're comfortable with that, you can certainly do it.
This is where, because I do tend to hire teens, I don't have any of that stuff.
Yeah. And as you mentioned, your underage labor.
My underage labor, yes. That I paid under minimum wage.
There you go.
But what was I just going to say? I also, here's the thing that I've learned. I am a risk taker. If you are risk adverse, then you will probably want to put more things in place. I mean, yes, List Perfectly has and eBay also has the sub account stuff where you can do. Yeah. I just give everybody my login. One day it could bite me in the butt, but I've been doing this for 10 years with Minions. Never happened. Look at all the listings and all the sales I've made because I've removed that roadblock of having to have somebody log in and do this and be checking all that sort of stuff.
10 years, as you said, or you inferred, 10 years doing this and haven't been bit in the butt yet.
But don't put that out in the universe, Douglas.
That's right. Don't put that out. Yeah. Knock on wood. All right. How about, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, for some of the platforms, if something happened on eBay, Not as confident as I used to because all the people I know are leaving, but I still have a few connections that I could probably get my eBay account fixed if something happened.
So I love this comment from Tommy. Shoot, develop, wait, scan, upload. Oh my God, we've come a long way. And
Wait, wait,
that
wait.
that was before me, but the stories I've heard, unbelievable. Even before, were you listing before photos?
Yeah,
Teresa?
we only put one photo because you had to pay 15 cents for each additional photo. So you made your listing with one photo. And I was fortunate because I worked at a university and I had access to a digital camera that I could check out and use on the weekend. So I was fancy. There was no developing it and scanning it. I was fancy. I got my pictures taken and uploaded the same day.
Well, Teresa's always said she's a click snob, so she was cutting out steps back then. But Kim adds, because this is true, then wait for the check in the mail, then wait for it to clear, then if it clears, ship the item.
You
So
forgot the step about going to the post office, weighing the item, telling him what zip code it was going to ship to so that you could go back to the home and tell the buyer how much shipping was going to be.
and I don't know if you know this, Teresa, but I used to work at eBay.
Really?
So, but I
Did I know
remember
you then?
took a couple of years in. But when I was there, I was in the building that was the original in the building and on the original floor where eBay started. And I remember one day we were talking about, I think he informed me, he goes, this is the building and this is literally the floor where eBay started. And now they own like every building on the block at headquarters. So, but Griff was walking me around and he said, yeah, here, this is where the stacks and stacks of mail bags filled with checks used to come in and just pile up because they couldn't get to them because it exploded.
Yep. I believe that. Yeah.
Stop the show. Stop the show. Susie, my favorite eBay employee or ex-employee. Thank you so much, Susie.
There
I
you
really
go, Susie.
appreciate it.
Were you there before eBay Main Street when eBay Main Street was eBay Main Street is the thing, but the main building that we enter into now, when that was a basketball court?
It's interesting. So they were just finishing it
No.
and I was there for the grand opening. So they had just finished it. But yeah, that used to be a basketball court. And I have literally had sellers ask me if that's where eBay launches the satellites from. Does the top open and do the satellites?
Oh.
The spy satellites that they spy on sellers on, so they know which searches to turn off.
I thought that was the blue door, red door theory.
With the big switch. Shut down this part of the country for searches.
Yeah.
I do like this nostalgia though. This is fun. What was really great was when a buyer would send a cashier's check, no waiting for that to clear. Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy. Wow. And have you used any other like technology or programs like time tracking stuff, project management stuff, or?
No, I have an eBay spreadsheet that I built in because let me tell you, Nicola's great. She comes in at 8:52. She writes down 8:52. She clocks out at 1:03 for lunch. She clocks back in at 1:33. She leaves at 4:06. And it calculates it all down, and I just write her a check at the end of 2 weeks.
Interesting. Cool.
Yeah. So
and so tell us when you brought her on, what was your training like? What was like the onboarding process? So she came on before you used LP.
Oh yeah. I mean, LP's been around for 5 years. I've been using LP for 5 years.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, we had this conversation that LP absolutely, even since she's been home, which is about a year, because she was using List Perfectly before she left, which she left in in May of 21-ish. No, she left in October of 21. So she was using List Perfectly, but in a, certainly not to the extent she's using now. But when she came home, and even over the last year, she says it's changed so much, it's gotten so much better. She uses it. Like she says, I can't imagine listing without it. She said, when she was talking about bringing this friend in, she's like, it's very easy to teach somebody how to list and list perfectly. Then you don't have to learn eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, Etsy. You just do all the things. So yeah, eBay definitely makes getting help much easier than it used to be. The eBay features and the eBay tools make it much easy. I'm sorry, the List Perfectly features and the List Perfectly tools make it much easier and faster. And we don't have to be the experts. Let List Perfectly's listing assistant help you. I do it when I list my stuff in Amazon,
Oh,
not because I need to create an Amazon listing, because I need to create my listing in List Perfectly so I can track it. I usually leave my stuff on Amazon for 30 to 45 days, something like that. And then I cross post it out. So I already have that information in my List Perfectly catalog from when I create the listing in Amazon. So yeah, List Perfectly is a huge game changer.
so you're using to track your Amazon sales, you're using that custom marketplace feature.
Yeah, I mean, because Amazon has been integrated in List Perfectly from the early days. It's not a custom marketplace. Amazon has its own little icon.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah.
But for those of you that are watching this or might not, you just need to know that that is not integrated. It's a manual thing that I track, but it is worth it to me because anybody that sells on Amazon knows Amazon don't play. If you sell something and you don't have it, your account is dinged. And it's not like a ding, it's a whack.
Yeah.
Amazon doesn't like that.
Yeah.
eBay will give you a little hand slap. Amazon will whack you over the head.
Yeah, I watched Pulp Fiction again the other day, and you know how the bad guy in there is the bald guy? That's
No,
Jeff Bezos. They come to him at the pool and they're like, "Hey, this happened with this account. Take him out."
That's probably how it is.
He sits by the
Yeah.
pool. And I want this is interesting. So what do you have to consider in terms of, legal requirements, data security, and like tax stuff? How much do you is it like under the table, or do you consider
So
tax stuff, or what?
yes, you definitely consider tax stuff. When Nicole was 12 and she was working for me on Christmas and spring break and here and there over the summer, no, I gave her cash. I have a picture of her cute little 12-year-old self with her timesheet and her $21 that she made, and she was so happy. But now absolutely she's a 1099 employee. And in the true sense, general guidelines, Monday through Friday, 9 to, actually she was working at one point 10 to 4. Now she's working 9 to 5. But she'll come in and say, okay, I'm going to leave at 1 today. I've got this. Okay, great. See you tomorrow. Like literally she dictates her hours.
Okay. Yeah. And, in terms of something like data security, it's like those are concerns that I heard back when I was at eBay, and they were talking about multi-user account access. That's why you can do that segmented access, or you can just give them some tasks, like, divide up, like you take the pictures, you do the descriptions, you do the pricing. You don't necessarily have to have them have access to all your accounts or access to your perfectly. And then in Pro and Pro Plus, you've got that one extra. You can limit the access with that if you are concerned about data security, especially if it's someone you don't know. But if
Right.
it's
If you're hiring a VA that you've never, that you're working with some Fiverr or wherever you're getting them from, then yeah, I probably wouldn't be as free with my passwords as I am. Now, let me tell you, I did change my passwords so that my passwords are not anything close to anything that I would use for anything else. And so if I have to change my password, it's very easy to change my password. It's like, yeah. And I just change it to something else that's very random that I would never use anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, passwords are important.
Yeah.
Tommy
Genie is great to do accounting and that kind of stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah, they're good friends of ours. We like them. When we did 1 million events last year, they were at most of the
every
events.
Single one of them.
Yeah, they're still
there's another one out there called Seller Ledger. Seller Ledger is written by the people that did TaxJar and GoDaddy before they were pissed when GoDaddy closed down in the middle of a year. So yeah, those are two. But My Reseller Genie's been around, I'm going to say 3 years. I think they were at Boss the first year, which would be 21. So they've been around for about 3 years. And absolutely, like List Perfectly, they've grown, they've improved, they've added features and all that sort of stuff. Seller Ledger probably about a year now.
Yeah, and I don't know them as well as I know the My Reseller Genie team.
Yeah.
Trying to bide time while I got their link, Theresa, because I like to have, the multimedia.
You are on the job here.
I do my best. Hello, Garden Cell Resell Thrifts. Nice to see you again, of course. But yeah, My Reseller Genie, a lot of growth the last couple of years, small team. They're doing a lot of cool stuff. And we know a bunch. We know Jenna Sippy and her accounting service. She's a seller that works with sellers. So, a lot of those options are out there. When you talk about like again, like yeah, getting help with your no worries, it's okay. Thank you for coming though. It's all right. Oh, missed the Snoop Doggy show with ghosts. It was fun. Got to tell some good stories, hear some very interesting stories.
I actually made it to your show today. And then I wasn't even on there for 2 minutes and I got a phone call.
Well, hopefully it was the best 2 minutes of the show. But yeah, when you talk about like outsourcing stuff and talk about, or like, again, your accounting or your book management, things like that. Also obviously the thing that pops into my head too is consignment.
Yes.
This is our 15-minute alarm. Working with a consignment partner or consigning stuff, or dividing that up. And I think too, if you are selling, you should be prepared to be a consigner to some degree. And then you also need to be prepared to tell people that those Beanie Babies aren't necessarily worth anything. The Black Diamond VHS tapes. What else is there that people will insist is worth something?
So, and then another service too to outsource, because you were saying that, and I found that I never liked to sell other people's stuff because, first of all, it didn't interest me. Second of all, I have enough of my stuff. I'm like, for me, my thought was, well, why do I want to spend my time selling your stuff and I'm only going to get 50% when I could sell my stuff, make 100%? But if you are in an area or you can't source and you can't get stuff, then absolutely consignment used to be the way to go. Having said that, I came across some, a friend that moved here from California, is a realtor, and called me and told me that she had sold a home to somebody that moved from California. Just a coincidence. That
Sure.
I'm like, we didn't know each other, but she has a lot of stuff from the industry that she was in. She was a pattern designer, and she made patterns for a couple of well-known brands. And so she had a lot of things that she wanted to sell. And so they put me together. She has no interest in doing any of the work, whatever. But I have no interest in doing this. But I know a guy that has a service. So I'm going to act as the middleman, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to send it all to Casey in Florida and have him photograph, list, store, ship. And then we will split the profits 50-50.
There you go. And I was just looking this up for everybody. So, Rockstar Flipper, Casey Paris, friend of ours, friend of the show, as we like to say. Cool guy. We've known him forever, but he does have, I'll just show you a little bit of this. Hang on one sec. And
I like this because he will do all the steps. Like, I don't want to. I first thought I was going to have Nicole take the pictures and then them list it. But then I decided I'll just send it to him and have him do all of that stuff. So I'm still waiting for this woman to give me. She's still trying to move and unpack. So
yeah. So anyway, we'll play it in the background here, but we can talk over it. So Casey, Rockstar Flipper, has a complete eBay fulfillment, listing, and storage service. So he'll store your stuff, he'll sell your stuff, he'll ship your stuff. All you got to do right now, as I think for now, is send in the pictures, and then I think it's.
He has different services, so you can send him pictures. They'll create the listings. in your List Perfectly catalog, and then you price it, you launch it, you ship it, and all that stuff. Or you can ship the items to him. They'll photograph, list it, store it, ship it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, so that's the kind of I'm thinking I'm doing. So for me, I'm going to test this out. This could be another form of semi-passive income, because I'm going to have to take the intake from this person. I'm going to have to do the work to ship it to Casey, and I'm going to have to monitor it. Now, for those of you that think that that's too much work for whatever you have to do, one of the things that is a selling point that for these kind of consignment type things that I tell people, sure, you can do this. You can create an eBay account, and you can wait for eBay to give you past that $100, 100 listing minimums or whatever. Or I can list your items on my 25-year-old plus account, no limits. We can sell whatever, like, and it will sell faster. And you can hang on my SEO and my history of my store.
There you
And
go.
that will get you more sales faster. Because, if you've tried to sell, if you're new to eBay, it takes time to get those restrictions lifted from your account. It takes time on Macari. So it's just one of those things where I think it's a selling point that a lot of people don't pitch.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just one of those things that if you want to pay to get your stuff listed, if you want to pay for all that, I kind of think of it as like when I order, like I can get everything delivered to my house from, like, Costco delivers, the grocery store delivers, they'll even deliver, shockingly enough, they'll deliver alcohol, but you're paying a convenience fee. It's like, if I don't have to, leave my house and, get to eat something decent, that might be a little cold, but you're going to pay a $20 convenience fee.
Sure.
So it's like I could send all my stuff to Casey and clear out my garage, and my wife would be thrilled, and she might even authorize those fees. But yeah, it's a bit of he charges for a service because they've got
it's a lot of work
service, and it is a lot of work. Trish and I talked to him last week. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, Kathy. So $7 is a lot for clothing if you're selling a $15 shirt.
Yeah.
Don't sell $15 shirts and send them to Casey.
Theresa started the show with saying she has a pair of nearly $600 jeans listed, and hopefully somebody
They
buys
are not jeans. They are vintage, some kind of hunter plaid, something. I got them at yesterday's Fits. Jesse gave me a great deal on them.
Awesome. Cool guys. Those are two cool guys. I don't want to say kids because I'm trying to work on that. They're younger than me, but I found out that a lot of people are younger than me. Let's just say when I registered for PoshFest, I'm to the point now where I click the last box for the age range, and it's not an age range anymore. They're like, this or above.
You old. Hey, I'm right up there with you. I just have a better hairdresser than you do to cover my gray.
Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know. I debate on that. I always said I would never dye my hair, but you never know. You never know. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, yeah, renting a space is very expensive. So, that factors into everything too. And then, Tommy, you need to sell high through rates and high AP to use services like that. You don't want one-off items that might take 6 months to sell or sell for $15.
Right.
Because yeah, I mean, it makes sense, as you are going to be charged to have your space or your stuff stored, and he gives a break for a bit if you sign up with him, but at some point, yeah, paying for storage. It's like, I've got a bunch of stuff that I pay. I don't pay that much. I pay $100 for a month, and I have a pretty big
in California for a storage unit, dude.
And you know what? I got the double score because this place also stores rich people's wine collections. So my unit is the last one right before the wine. So that building has to be refrigerated. Or not refrigerated, air conditioned.
Cool, yeah.
So usually you have to pay extra for that. But I have a bunch of stuff Bunch of stuff to sell that's stored, and a lot of Christmas stuff.
Here's the thing. I live in Arizona. It gets 120 in the summer. I
Yeah,
stored chapstick in a storage unit and it didn't melt. Everybody, I
there you
think it's a
go.
fake thing. I mean, there are some things that I wouldn't do that, but I didn't have my storage unit in an AC climate control because I wanted a drive up. I had a storage unit inside one of those buildings, and you go in and you got to go all the way down. It's like, no, I want to drive up. I want to take out my 40 boxes out of my car and put them in the thing and bring 40 more out. So
There
yeah,
you go.
so it was worth the risk to me. And I thought, if I lose some chapstick, I lose some chapstick. But I didn't lose any chapstick. It didn't melt. I made sure that not to have it at the front of the doors where the metal was.
Uh-huh.
Chapstick stayed in the back, but that's all I had to do.
There you go.
Yep.
And so you got some weather coming up. What's your AC situation like out there in the cellar layer?
So fortunately, the RV garage came insulated
Okay.
and the door is insulated because the door I was the biggest negative part about this house is that it faces west.
Okay.
So I didn't like that afternoon sun baking on the door, but the garage, the warehouse door is insulated, as is the whole warehouse. So I have a mini split in there, an AC unit, and we turn the heat on in the winter a couple of times, maybe for a half hour, 45 minutes in the morning, just to take the chill off. And it was
Mhm.
just so well insulated. I have if it's not 80 degrees, I'm cold. So I have it set the AC out there at, I think it's set at 78 right now.
Okay.
But I don't leave it on all the time. If I'm out there working, I'll turn it on. And when Nicole was out there, we obviously had it on when she needed it, but I probably won't have it on a lot. I'm curious to see what my AC bill is going to be this year because it'll be the first summer that I've been in this house. So
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I would like a constant 70 or 80 degrees.
70 or 80, that's a big swing.
That is true. 80 might be too hot. We'll have to see.
In
I
my
like
big house for 15 years, I kept it at 80 degrees, 24/7, 365.
Okay, that's warm. That is
But
toasty.
see, but here, when you come into outside and it's 108 degrees, that 80 degrees feels cool. Everybody gets hung up on the number.
That's true. That's
And
true.
it would annoy me in the Airbnb because everybody would say, "Oh, I need it at 68." But what they don't realize is that your AC units can't handle that when it's 110 outside. You can't
Yeah. Oh
you
yeah.
can't have an AC unit. I think the guy told me it was a 30-degree swing was all that was good for the AC unit.
Oh, interesting.
Whatever.
Good to
But I
know.
mean, I live in Arizona, so it's like we're used to the heat.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
All right, so let's recap. I'll recap real quick, then we'll do some plugs, and then we'll let everybody get out of here because Theresa likes to start on the hour and end on the hour. She's very, very good.
We
Very good.
didn't do that today in Listing 101.
Wow, but usually she's good. She sometimes allows a little bit of
We're,
that.
we are there to answer the questions if people
That's
have
true.
questions.
That's
So
true.
we went over.
Yeah, and if you have any last minute questions, get them in there. But today, thanks for joining today. We talked about hiring help and outsourcing tasks for online sellers and resellers. We talked about identifying the tasks you can outsource and are comfortable with outsourcing, finding the right talent, setting expectations, vetting your candidates, um, using contracts and agreements. If that's something you want to do, you can certainly do that. Leveraging technology like List Perfectly, My Reseller Genie, things like that. Training and resources, um, and building a long-term relationship. Look at Theresa with 10 years with her minion.
Started out with a 10-year-old,
That's right.
12-year-old.
There, yes, yes. Stay compliant. So stay compliant. Be aware of any legal requirements that would be applicable. Think about your data security. Think about compliance with the platforms
Mhm.
always in the marketplaces. And List Perfectly helps you with that too, by the way.
Yep.
So think about that instead of just listing natively, which is fine. And then it's always a good idea to review every once in a while, optimize if there's something that needs to be adjusted. You want to make sure you've got a relationship with your help that's working for both of you. And then,
And don't be afraid to let somebody else fix your process.
yeah, that's true.
I tell Nicole all the time, you have to do this. If you figure out a way that gets the job done and you like it better than this, I don't care. The end result is I need you to do listings. I need my pictures to look like this. And she has done that. And it's interesting because they will come up with ways to improve your process that you didn't think about.
Yeah,
And that's what
exactly.
I love. I don't ever put, if you have help, don't put them in a box. Give them guidelines, but don't put them in a box.
Yeah, because they're doing it. I mean, it's always good to have an open and collaborative relationship. Well, all right. So before we go, ladies and gentlemen,
Recap.
so recap. We recapped.
We
And
recap.
then I got to tell you, Friday at 11 a.m. here on the YouTube is so popular. Women were fainting. Policemen were turning in their badges.
Teenagers are screaming at their YouTubes.
It was like the Beatles. Probably wasn't me. It was probably because Patrick was here. But we didn't get through our list and we were going to space it out a bit. But we decided to treat you all again with what not to do with List Perfectly 2.0 Revisited Redux.
The crowd goes wild.
Please, everybody. Patrick is growing his beard as we speak, but we will be back. We will have. So what we're going to do is we're going to finish our list, and then we are going to talk to you about some new stuff coming out that should
Hopefully
be
by
out by
Friday.
Friday.
Do not miss this live on Friday, because I'll tease you a little more. Right before this went on, I was on a call and I got to see a sneak preview of something that's coming.
The chimes, the chimes, the chimes.
The chimes, the chimes.
We yeah, I mean, I gotta ask Patrick about that if we can talk about it.
Well, it might be out by then, so maybe. I think you'll probably be able to talk to it by Friday anyway.
And that stuff, like Theresa finds out about. Theresa knows about stuff coming that I don't, and things like that. So
I know people.
we've always got stuff, but this one is cool. I mean, we say game changer a lot, but I think even since I've been with List Perfectly almost 4 years now, believe it or not, I have seen a lot of change. And Kim knows. Thanks for telling me, Kim and Theresa.
Oh,
it's pretty.
what so Kim, Pat showed it to me. What I asked Pat is this as good as it looks? And he's like, oh yeah. So I'm not testing it, so I don't know all that, but I got to see it.
Yeah, we make it easy for you to list, cross-post, and manage your businesses, ladies and gentlemen. So
all for the same low price of your subscription.
There you go. And always more cool stuff coming too. But yeah, check out. Thanks for being here. This is Reseller Tips. We do it every Wednesday afternoon here on YouTube. TnTnD. Trish should be back next week, but we love the interaction, love the back and forth, and this is where we share tips. We've also got Monday Coffee Talk, which is a little more relaxed, but we talk about reseller tips, we answer questions, things like that. And then we have listing parties all the time, 7 days a week, technically 24 hours a day at listingparty.com. The Facebook group, all these resources that we have, most of them are open to any kind of seller. You can ask reselling questions in there, marketplace questions in there. Theresa Cox is a mid 20 years seller and expert.
Long time seller.
Long time. We'll cap it. It's like when I have to register for PoshFest, they cap the age range. So but yeah. And then yeah, tune in Friday at 11. Patrick and I will be back for more what not to do with List Perfectly. We might have some cool previews. So anything to close with, Theresa?
Tonight is on listingparty.com is Star does her creative conversations. I believe that will start in an hour. And so if you feel like chatting and crafting, then you can go over there and join that listing party.
Yeah, there you go. Creative conversation.
It's a full day of List Perfectly today.
That's right. That's right. And then real quick, tomorrow, as always, in the morning mastermind, customer support 411. Pat's in there if you have any questions. That is great. Direct access to the master of most things List Perfectly. Great resource. He can explain anything to anybody. He can explain ice to an Eskimo, I would say.
He's good, and he's very, very patient.
Exactly. Yeah. And that, yeah, I'm not so patient, but I try to help.
Pat is the perfect person for those 411
Yes.
customer support calls.
There you go.
There we go.
Well, thanks everybody. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time. We're waving, we're waving, we're waving.